We're about a week plus since the death of Renee Good. And I guess the question I'd like to answer with this video, at least poke around at the edge of the answers, is why is she dead? Why is a woman of 37 years old with a couple of kids and a spouse dead? And there's a lot of depth to that answer, I think, because there's a lot of things that have led up to it. And she is simply the culmination, and it looks like the catalyst for what comes next. She was failed by three different levels of government: the national government, the state government, and the city government. So let's talk at the national level first. Off to my right here on my screen, I've got part of the Constitution that I want to read. So I'm just going to turn my head and read it. This is from the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States. The part there: ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare. Over the entire span of the Biden administration prior to Trump, they threw that out the window totally. They defaulted for the idea of an open border. During that time, there were days when as many as 15,000 plus people poured across the border. No vetting, no destination other than I want to go to the United States, and no assurance that the people that come can actually contribute to society in other ways than drug-related, crime-related, gang-related activities. In fact, the gangs ran the transportation department there. They ran the migration through Central America up into the United States. That's a failure of trying to defend the people of the country. I took an oath of office as both an enlisted and officer many times. I don't know the exact number over my 21 years of service. In all of those, it was to protect and defend the Constitution, and that's one of the parts of the oath for president, that you defend the Constitution. For the entire Biden administration, that was simply set aside in favor of undoing Trump's work on the border before that, allowing drugs to come in, 100,000 people a year from drug overdoses, most of it from fentanyl or fentanyl-related products. And then, human trafficking, child trafficking. Not only was Renee Good let down, we all were. All of us. Every single one of us. So that's the first failure. Why is she dead? The government, for the 4 years during the Biden administration, failed to do their duty, take their responsibility serious, and simply let us be flooded with criminals. Second one I'm going to read is from Article 1, Section 1 of the Minnesota Constitution. Objective of government. Government instituted for the security, benefit, and protection of the people, in whom all political power is inherent, together with the right to alter, modify, or reform government whenever required by the public good. All right, while they're not an official, there hasn't been an actual bill introduced into the Senate or House in Minnesota, turning it into a sanctuary state. It is by all actions that they have taken a sanctuary state, which means they're simply not going to help the federal government deport people that shouldn't be here. And I'm not talking about the people who walked across and they keep their head down and they do the work. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about child molesters, people who have raped girls, raped women, committed sodomy against children. Those are the people that they're defending. Many of the people that ICE has arrested during their push into Minneapolis, they've had deportation orders for decades. Okay, decades, and the state government has ignored them. A lot of it, I think, really comes down to orange man bad. They hate Trump. I mean, it's almost pathological in the how they view that man, and it affects the people in the state of Minnesota. All right. So the state of Minnesota let Renee Good down by not working with the feds to get rid of the people that are quote unquote her neighbors, the rapists, the criminals, the robbers, the people here illegally. And finally, from the mission statement of the city of Minneapolis. Mission of the city government of Minneapolis. Our city government takes strategic action to address climate change, dismantle institutional injustice, close disparities in health, housing, public safety, economic opportunities. In partnership with residents, city leaders help to ensure all communities thrive in a safe and healthy city. Minneapolis is neither safe nor healthy right now, all right? This is on them as well. So you have three government entities all built with the idea of keeping their citizenry safe. All three of them let Renee down. Now, giving full credit to Trump, he has just racked up his 8th month with no illegals crossing the border. This that the Democrats swore on a stack of Bibles in all sorts of campaign promises that the only way to fix the border was to pass new legislation. And Trump simply simply worked through existing law. So all the rest of that stuff, just crap. It's just crap. So here we are, all right? You have illegals, and the ones that I understand they were looking for the night or the day she got shot, Renee got shot, was they were looking for a fellow that had raped and sodomized a child. Regardless, there's a bunch of them out there. If you get in the way of a federal operation, that's a criminal act. So just by her running up and down the street, and she had been doing it all morning, all right? And somehow she was influenced by a group that conducts training on how to perform ICE watches, all right? How to interfere with, how to snatch people away from ICE agents to protect them, quote unquote, keeping in mind that these are people that have deportation orders, all right? They have deportation orders in their hand. Which is an organization I think should be looked at. I assume they are, but if not, they need to take a walk down that path and find out just what the ICE watchers are teaching and do something to interdict that, I guess. So those three organizations, the ones that we all look to protect us, to allow us to be in our communities and sleep in our homes safely, simply did not and are not doing their job. The last piece, sadly, always comes down to the person you look at in the mirror, Renee, all right? Years ago, I had a partner in business, and he had a sign on the back of his door saying, "You're looking at the answer." All right? You're looking at the answer. So who had primary responsibility for Renee's death? Okay? It's a terrible answer. It's a terrible outcome. It's sad on so many levels. But the answer is Renee. Okay? Renee's responsible. Responsibility means the ability to respond to the environment. And she simply chose horrendously bad responses. Now, I'm sure everybody's going to raise their hand. Yeah, but the police officer shot her. Yes, he did. All right. I teach personal defense. I teach people how to carry a handgun safely, how to deploy it properly, and importantly, when to employ it. There's a fellow instructor out east. His name is Masab Ayub. He is considered the GOAT of personal defense from a legal point of view. What should you do? There are 4 things that a person needs to do, and this includes law enforcement officers. 4 squares that need to be filled before you can deploy your weapon to defend yourself against a threat. Okay? The first is on the person who's inflicting harm. That is ability. All right? Renee had the ability to either kill the officer or do grave bodily harm to him in her hands. She is sitting behind a couple 1,000-pound vehicle. All right. She had the ability. She had a weapon between her hands that she could utilize to hurt the officer. The next is opportunity. All right. If she was sitting in her car, in her driveway, sitting in her car, driving her children to school, sitting in her car, going to work or going grocery shopping, she wouldn't have had the ability to hurt the officer. Instead, she was sitting in her vehicle, a couple body lengths away from the officer, with the vehicle pointed in his direction. All right. The next is the word jeopardy. The person who's about to be injured needs to believe in their heart of hearts that they're in immediate jeopardy of either loss of life or having grave bodily harm done. So you have an officer a body length by that time or less away. He's looking at the car. He's looking at the woman. He listens to her partner say, "Drive, baby, drive." He hears the car spin its engine up, and he hears wheels spinning on ice. That's the only reason the car is not moving yet. Spinning on ice, and the wheels are pointed right at him. Okay? At that instant, from a personal defensive point of view, it's already been wired in the officer or an individual that I teach the neural pathways on how to draw a firearm pointed at the person and to press the trigger 3 to 5 times. That's what I teach, 3 to 5 times. There's no thought involved. Okay, it all clicks together, and that's simply done. So, in immediate jeopardy, you hear a car that you could reach out and touch, accelerating and spinning its wheels, and the only reason that you're not lying and under it is because the ice isn't under the car. That's immediate jeopardy. If I don't do something, I'm going to die. His choice was, and the only opportunity he really had was to draw his firearm and discharge it at the driver. And that's the preclusion. What else could he have done? He had no time to move out of the way. And that's evidenced by the fact that he was indeed struck and had internal bleeding. All right. So ability, opportunity, jeopardy, and no other choices. The word for that is preclusion of any other possibilities. That's why Renee Good was killed. But the real reason, and under all of that, is her choices. Okay? She chose what to do that day. She chose to leave her kids somewhere while she was out, quote unquote, protecting and defending her neighbors against people that they were looking for, that needed to be deported. They had deportation orders. It is a profoundly sad situation. However, the cynical side of me thinks that It wasn't accidental. She was led down that path because the Trump hatred, the MAGA hatred, the just raw rage at this administration, frankly, needs a martyr. And whether it was her or someone else, they now have one. It's not going to get better. I'm seeing video today of men on the streets in their neighborhoods with ARs. Um, it's. I see Governor Walz looking at activating the National Guard to help interdict ICE. At least that feels what it's like. If you want to know what an insurrection looks like, that's it right there. That's insurrection. This is just not going to end well. I wrote an article for a local paper a while back saying, are things about to go kinetic? When you have kinetic, meaning that you're about to move into an active, violent, broad spectrum interaction between locals and their government that will require involve lots of two-way conversations with lead. It feels like it's coming. I don't know, folks. Use your head. All right. That's how we got here. That's why Renee is dead. The federal government abandoned her and all of us. The state government, same thing. They're not protecting her. And the local government. None of this is healthy for the citizens of Minneapolis. And it feels like it has the opportunity to spread. I guess my thought in that is, look in the mirror. You're the one responsible for your safety, safety of your family, safety of your community. Really, in your heart, don't do stupid things. That's Bill's nickel on this whole thing. You guys have a good day.